Hello, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Wednesday, June the 8th. Well, we gave you the news yesterday, but it came through in spades last night. Almost a century after women got the right to vote, an American woman will be the nominee of a major political party for President of the United States. That woman is, of course, Hillary Clinton. She had smashing victories yesterday, which was a good way to be able to claim the nomination. She won California by a large margin, New Jersey. She also won New Mexico and South Dakota. She did get beaten in North Dakota and Montana, but she will go into the convention with a broad majority of pledged delegates, an overwhelming lead in the popular vote. The interesting thing is that Bernie Sanders still won't concede defeat. He's going to run through the one remaining primary in Washington, D.C., says he's going to take his case to the convention. An interesting article in Politico talks about Bernie Sanders' bitterness, says that he harbors some hope, distant though it might be, that Hillary Clinton might be indicted before the national convention so that he'll have a shot at the nomination. This is really a dead-end campaign at this point. Speaking of the presidential race, Donald Trump made nice last night by his standards, used a teleprompter and didn't throw around some of his usual name-calling, as he won some primary victories and got ready for the race against Hillary Clinton. He's having trouble in his own party because of some blowback to some of the awful things he says. In Arkansas, finally, some Republican politicians did distance themselves from racial remarks Donald Trump has made about a judge in his Trump University case. Asa Hutchinson, perhaps the strongest, repudiating the remarks themselves. He has a Mexican daughter-in-law, he noted. But he and John Bozeman, with some somewhat milder critical remarks, and Bruce Westerman, all still said they intend to support the Republican nominee. Anything's better than Hillary Clinton from their point of view. On the national scene, about another Republican politician in Arkansas, Tom Cotton. We've been telling you about the story in the New York Times about his 2.5-year fight to prevent a very capable woman from getting an ambassadorship because he was using her as a pawn to make a point against President Obama. He's now getting national attention. Time Magazine, Esquire, MSNBC, Washington Monthly, Politico. These are just some of the organizations have written sometimes scathingly about Tom Cotton's obstructionism in Washington. So far, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, the state's newspaper, has not had a word in its print edition about it. John Brummett, the columnist, did criticize Cotton in an online column. Perhaps they ought to run that in the regular newspaper so more people can see it. Tom Cotton, by the way, through a spokesman who spoke to Brummett, defends what he's done. He has no remorse about it whatsoever. He thinks the world of this woman who died before her confirmation can be confirmed. As I said yesterday, he picked a funny way to show it. In other news, Dean Compuris, the longtime member of the City Board of Directors, told me today that he will seek a 5th term on the city board. That means all 3 at-large directors, very powerful positions in the shape of Little Rock government, will be seeking re-election this year. One of them, Joan Adcock, a somewhat controversial figure, will have a challenger, Molly Miller. None have yet emerged to the other 2 candidates, Compuris and Gene Fortson. Pulaski Tech's Board of Trustees this morning voted to continue to not allow guns on campus. It continues, as it has unanimously, to opt out of the law that would allow faculty to conceal carry under a law passed by Charlie Collins. As yet, no public university in Arkansas has voted to allow guns on campus, although a couple of trustees at the University of Arkansas favor it, and the trend may be running in that direction. And finally, how about a DQ for DMAC? There's word that there may be resistance to re-election of Dustin McDaniel, the former Attorney General and Democrat, to the prestigious Democratic National Committeeman slot for the Democratic National Convention this summer. The reason, Dustin McDaniel, as I reported some months ago, gave $2,000, the maximum, to Leslie Rutledge, a Republican who defeated Nate Steele for Attorney General last year. McDaniel might say that this payment was for debt forgiveness after Steele had been beaten, and certainly McDaniel supported Steele, but it was just to pay off debt that Rutledge incurred in beating a Democrat. Should a Democrat be elected to a Democratic Party office if he's given money to a Republican? Seems like the do-right rule ought to apply. Still waiting to hear from Dustin McDaniel on this issue. He is raising money for Democrats to go to the National Convention, by the way, so there is that. I'm Max Brantley. We're halfway done with this week. I'll be back on Thursday.